become a professional by then to be able to tell the story better. So we walk through the journey with them for 1 good year and help them to, give counseling, guidance, and on issues or matters that may arise in the course of the journey. So all my life, all my life, I've been, working with and partnering with people that are passionate about youth, singles, marriages, relationship, because I do tell people that my relationship is key. So my life is surrounded or is circle around relationship as it were. So I love people. I mean, I love singles. I love youth. I love young adults because of the passion God has deposited in my heart for them. I always look for ways to reach out to them. So by introduction, that is all about me. That may not be all about me because my life is a chapter. As we flip open, whatever God want me to know more about myself, I get to know. And whatever God want others to know about me, He exposed that to them as well. But for now, that's all about Shope Bukola.
Thank you so much, man. I just want to see, I love all the programs and everything that you have just said. That's a lot. And I believe there are youth out there that also source for all these informations, and I believe it will also help them as well, most especially when it comes to marital issue. It's hard to believe that people don't know that marriage comes with a manual too as well. Yeah, everybody, when you get a new car, you get a new stuff, you get everything, but at the same time, they don't know that it's hard to know that we don't have manual that guide the marriage. Most people don't that they are not aware that there's a manual that you have to follow in your marriage, and that's just only thing. That's why some people get into problem. Can I just ask you, man, what are the things that this new generation needs from parents when it comes to marriage? Because I believe sometimes we just shy away from certain things. Back
Yes.
in those days, they believe uh, there are some things that is forbidden to say to children or to youth. And what are the things that parents should let their children know before getting married?
Well, this generation youth are a fragment of it, of this generation youth are what we call Generation X. Another fragment is what we call Generation Y. And if you look critically into the two categories, in our arithmetic, when they ask us to find X is always an uh, unknown, should I call it alphabet in arithmetic. You always have to be finding out. Generation X are the generation of the confused one, the unknown. They fear, they are in God with the fear of unknown. But Generation Y are the ones that ask questions, highly inquisitive. In Generation X, you dare not ask questions because who are you going to ask, especially when you want to ask your parents? They are built an aura around us that whatever parent says is final. They are always right. I was one of those who experienced who had such experience. Maybe I'm one of the Generation X, but thank God for books and for exposure to certain level of knowledge that made us to understand that it may not be always right. So, but for both categories of these singles and youths and young adults generally, the parent need to wake up to changes of our time. Parents need to upgrade and update, just like this program implies. Parents need to come up to the understanding that things changes, what changes, and even the orientation and understanding of our youth also changes. So youths need parental guidance. And as much as they need parental guidance, parents also need to be flexible enough to listen out, to understand the angle they are coming from. For instance, your child come walk up to you and ask questions. on sex or sexuality, and you flared up as a parent, and where did you hear that from? Why will you be asking of such? Or are you already practicing it? You just move into assumption and you tongue lash such a child, you shout such a child down. You won't hear another story. You won't hear another information. And of course, they need to hear them out. They need to understand where that idea is coming from. If somebody, a young lady or young man walk up to you and tell you that he was already seeing a lady or seeing a guy that he intends to marry, and after you dialogue with that person, you find out that the person is not from your tribe, and you are beginning to you know get angry unnecessarily. You are just out of that arrangement. You are insisting that that will not work. It may not work as well, in that your opinion, because if that is what the guy or the lady wanted, there is nothing you can do other than to make the person see your own side of the story. And if your reason may not is not are not tenable, excuse me, sir, you may have to calm down. You may have to reason out. They need guidance, and they need genuine guidance. They need guidance that are not biased. They need opinion that are not biased, and that are not judgmental. So our youth need to hear. They need to hear from. I mean, they need to hear elderly counsel, and also they need to be guided. Bible says that in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. They can't, many times they can't see beyond their needs. They only act on what appeals to them per time. Sometimes they do things that are not supposed to do, because they believe that it is the right thing. Sometimes they don't do things they're supposed to do because they don't know, because they are ignorant. So the elderly ones that have seen both sides are supposed to be there for them, especially parents. But unfortunately, many times parents are not always there, perhaps because of business. I mean, the business of their schedule, or because of one reason or the other, they are not always there. So even if parents are not there, there should be elderly ones that can put such people uh, on track. Some of them are battling with addiction. They know that is not right, but they are just looking for somebody to put them through, guide them through on what to do to be out of it. But they're afraid if they tell somebody that is older or their parent, they will tongue them, they will discipline them, they will judge them, they will criticize them. So they rather talk to their peers. And of course, what do you think peers will tell them? Of course, somebody that is as well ignorant or confused himself or herself. We give them the counsel that is readily available. So they need guidance, they need counsel, they need love. They need love. Because many times, especially the young adults, as they grow, one of the attributes of their sexuality is acceptance. They want to be loved, they want to love. And in the act of looking for love, they look for love in wrong places. But if they've been shown love right from the beginning, if they verbalize love to them, like you always tell a young girl growing how beautiful she is, how brilliant, how intelligent she is. If a guy tells her outside, it will just be a confirmation to what she's constantly hearing at home. It will just be an affirmation of what she's used to. But a parent that have not applauded, that has not validated a child, a young lady before, you don't expect such a lady not to seek for such validation outside, because they want to be affirmed how they are faring, how they are doing. If a parent has not for once see good virtues in their children, as a guy, you always talk down the abilities of your son because he's not measuring up with others. You didn't see the other aspect where he or she is. We are not always perfect. We are not all perfect, and we cannot be equal, either in reasoning, in developmental growth, in ability and all that. But you begin to compare, because two children cannot be the same, either in ability or in reasoning. But you don't validate them, you don't show them love, you don't affirm them, their strength, even their mistakes. You allow them to make mistakes. For instance, my children, allow them to do do what you feel is right. But from your mistake, I will now sit you down and correct you. You will by yourself judge yourself. But that is not to criticize them, to make them feel less of themselves. So they need love. They need parent or elderly or guidance, elderly person around. You need to validate them. You need to write notes of appreciation to them. You need to, verbalize how much you love them, how much they are important, because out there are people that want to siphon that ability. They know that they want to siphon it. They want to make them feel less of them and then take advantage of them. A lot of younger, even youths that are, talking about age now, that are old enough to reason, to know what is good for themselves. Because the foundation has been rough from beginning, growing up might become somehow difficult because they want to hear it. They want somebody to tell them what they are doing right. They want somebody to give them a thumb up. But nobody is doing that. So wherever they find it, they stay glued. And they can be finding it in enemy's camp. So youth of now, they want people that will bring out the best out of them. Now, the one thing I always do with my youth, anytime, most times when I have programs, sometimes I want to just stay back and bring youth that I know that have found their ground, that are established. I always want to bring them on board to come and challenge others. Perhaps you have not looked inward to see what you are supposed to be doing, or what your strength or your weaknesses. Sometimes they allow their weaknesses to override or to becloud their strength. So they feel less of themselves. They feel like they are just wasting away, they are not useful. So those of us that are older, that are around, we should be able to have eagle eyes to look into these youth, because if you don't do that, most times they look vulnerable, they look helpless, and they feel like, oh, they throw pity party around themselves and feel like, oh, I wish I'm better. Whereas God has made every one of us better in our little space and capacity. But when we don't appreciate that, we discover that they just waste away. So my suggestion to parents, guardians, and disciples, elderly ones out there, is to reach out to our youth. Also, sorry, before I summarize this, I must also emphasize the importance of prayers. Our youth need prayers. In fact, some of them that are even gotten idea of who they are and they are really doing well. There's something I always call initial graga. Zeal without wisdom. Many of them just launch out and do things without guidance, without right tutor. So they need, as much as we impart wisdom into them, they need prayer. They need to be guided in the place of prayer. And some of them are still trying to find their footing. And I mean, in the course of doing that, they are lured into something that is wrong. So we need to commit their lives into hand of God. We need to report their case oftentimes to God, to guide them through, to give them wisdom, and to put them on the right track. So they need people to stand in the gap for them, because a lot of them, they are swept away by um so many so many things that they run after. So they don't even have time. They don't even have time to spend too long a time in talking to God about their life. But we can stand in the gap and report their cases to God, and we expect God to move in their direction.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. That's just I really appreciate you for those informations. And there's another thing that I want you quickly touched, in those area, while you are talking, and the area whereby this generation that we are in right now, children are getting to a place whereby they they kind of having difficulty with their uh gender. Oh,
Mm.
am I supposed to be a man, but I came as a woman? I can feel the touch of feminine part of me coming out and having more power over my actual gender. And that makes them to begin to think, Why can't I be a woman instead of being a man? Why can't I be a man instead of being a woman? And that kind of thing, kind of making some children to be confused, or some people to be confused of who they should marry, you know. And maybe the next question I'm probably going to ask on that one is just like, what kind of thing that makes somebody to get somebody who is already married and later divorce and say, okay, I into a particular sex compared to where I married to. So my question is just, what can, or how do we address the children that are fighting with gender issue?
Identity.
Identity.
Yeah. That still boils down to foundation. Every parent, every guardian, everyone, everyone that have moved higher from this generation, everyone who God has saddled the responsibility to look after this generation. Why? Because that is why they are generation Y, because many of us are generation X. Thank God this cross-gender issue weren't that popular in our generation. Otherwise, we would have admired it in secret, but would not have opportunity to do it. Maybe it would have been our secret adventure. But when we have opportunity, we just delve into it. But this generation, a generation Y, that has questions. But unfortunately, they are asking questions. Either they are asking questions in the wrong direction, or they are asking questions and nobody is ready to answer the question. Because the generation X that they are asking questions from, they don't even know. Because we are not made to ask questions in our generation. But for some of us that are giving our heart out to find out, possible questions that we might likely ask, or questions that rages in our heart, and God has given us understanding or clarity about them. We should be able to offer them those questions that are raging in their hearts. These are generation of curiosity. They want to know what becomes of me if I try this out. They want to try new things, either positively or negatively. And that has to do with this aspect of cross-gender problem that we see that is becoming so rampant and popular in these days. It's still an issue of when center, I mean, when things are not holding forth. I mean, when things fall apart, yes, center will not hold. When there are no people, adults, correct adults, or parents, in fact, it starts from parenting, when they are not taking responsibility over these people to attend to questions even before they grow into something that is bigger beyond measure, when they are not giving out adequate information, adequate education, these people will grow up to have bigger questions that nobody will be able to answer, or nobody will be there to answer. From beginning, we are supposed to be training children who they are, the question of identity, because it will come to every human being. At some point in every person's life, you will come to a point where you ask yourself, who am I? Which is a question of identity. At some point, you ask yourself, why am I here? Which is a question of purpose. At some point, you come to a question of how far, where am I going? That's a question of your goal or your destination. Then you ask yourself again, how far am I to it? This is a question of destination. Everyone, every individual, at some point or the other, we come to that point. But a lot of us, we come to that point, we just jump past. Just as well, somehow I'll find my footing. Somehow I will find out. Somehow I will survive. But this generation won't solve. They won't jump past until they find answers. And because nobody is ready to answer their questions, they begin to just take decision on their own, and they take things out of hands. So if children from now, it's not too late, even for those that have grown past children. I mean, the young adults. It's not too late for us to begin to sensitize them. It's not too late for us to begin to reorientate them. For those who have gone past, who have confused themselves further, it's not too late for us to reset that thinking, to give them correct identity of who they are, and to make them to begin to celebrate their uniqueness and their identity. Sometimes It is not just because they are confused, it's because they want to copy, they want to compare. I've met with one of my young adults, because I coordinate young adult class in my local assembly, apart from the pastoring church, I mean youth. And there was, a conversation that erupted in the course of the service. And I was asking them who their models, their role models were. And one of them made bold to tell me that one of the cross-gender celebrity is our own model. And I asked her, should we call this person she or he or see she? She said, whatever. She just loved that person because the person in the original gender is male. But of course, she has so much transformed herself to become a female. But we can't erase that fact that God made the person male in the original. Jesus was even addressing the Pharisee when they asked him about divorce. He said, in the beginning, it was not so. So most time we need to go back to the beginning. So I was asking this lady, why did you choose this person as a role model? One, she's not a child of God. I mean, she's not a child, it's not a born again child of God. You should be. That's our expectation anyway. We may expect such, but we may not get it because it depends on your perspective about God. And he said, I just like this person. I love her or his dress sense. What sense do you think will come from the dressing choices or taste of this person that you should like? Because it's in our decision were informed from our perception. But yet, my lady, loved this person, this celebrity, for what she desire in that person. So that is a question, is a question on the parenting, where she is also coming from, because there has never been a conversation to bring that out from her mind for her parent to know the direction she's already going, because if she's already following that direction, she's already becoming a model of a brand. So if parents have been having good conversation at home to bring out the deepest question in the heart of our children, we would have known where they are coming from. We would have understanding of battles they are fighting inward. So it's a reality that should be dawning on us now, that we need to inculcate identity model in our children. We need to make them embrace who God has made them to be. We need to make them understand the brand that God is forming through them. And if that is done from beginning, it will be difficult for such a child, even when he has so many contradictions of men, so many opposition that is going against the initial understanding. That such a child will be able to gain enough strength to stand the test of time. So cross-gender idea is, I think, is more of curiosity, is more of competition or identity misplacement. But if we are able to stand ground as parents, guardians, and elderly ones to help these children, we don't just watch them or just criticize them or tongue lash them. What is wrong with this one? We don't just abuse them. Somebody said he's waiting for the salvation of one of the celebrity that is cross-gender. And I'm also looking forward to such, because there's nothing God cannot do. But have you not noticed that many of our children they are their followers? So now, before everyone's understanding is perturbed, is changed negatively, we need to stand up and help them out, give them proper orientation.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the word is kind of has been bastardized to the point whereby these days now we don't see dignities when it comes to uh, virginity and being pure. The word purity is now it's less talked about right now, because why? People now have opinion whereby we say, oh well, um not every woman, not every man is now a virgin. You have to test drive. I need to see the package that I'm going to buy. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when you people, even parents, some parents even encourage, before you get married to that person, I must see. Have
Sure.
you tried him to make sure he can actually perform? Or have you tried that woman to actually know that she's fertile to give us our grandchildren and all those kind of things? And in a situation whereby even friends now says, well, look, uh, keeping but being virgin is an old kind of lifestyle.
Institution.
What do we say? How do we encourage our children back? And how do we encourage not even only our children? And this is not has to be based on religious aspect alone. But what will you say about being uh, staying pure, both for men and women? You can still be you can still be pure before you get married.
Yes. In fact, this particular question was something I discussed with some set of people over the weekend, talking about virginity, talking about purity in relationship, purity when you go out dating or whoever you want to marry, because already we cannot separate dating from our youth now. In fact, when you talk about courtship and dating, they feel like, what are you talking about? I cannot court without dating. You understand? So we just have to talk in their language because, of course, we know what we are saying, we know where we are coming from, but we have to just come to their level of understanding. Now, to people who date or to youths out there that, they just feel like you just at some point in your life have connection with the opposite sex, and in the course of you know relating with them, with the opposite sex or your significant other, there is not a big deal if you eventually have one night time or several nights time or night out. I do tell people that yes, it may be generally believed, it may be a general opinion that virginity is no more popular, that virginity is an old-fashioned idea, or whoever is still standing on the issue of virginity is coming from an old ideology or school of thought. Well, that might be general opinion, but of course, multitudes are not always right. God told Elijah when Elijah was complaining that I'm the only one left that have not bowed to Baal. Everyone has bowed to Baal. Everyone is now serving Baal because they believe Baal is God. Because Baal is doing what they want and is answering their question. He's paying them big time. I'm the only one left. That's why the woman, the wish that is servicing them, want to kill me because I killed the prophet of Baal. Why not kill me and let me leave this world? He was just angry on facts, but he was not angry on the truth. That virginity is not popular, maybe factual, but that's not the truth. God told him, he said, if you think you are the only one standing, I bet to excuse you. You are not the only one. I still have in reservation. Or I still have in reserve. I still have in kept. I still have thousands of my prophets whose nails have not gone down to bar. And I believe that must have really humbled Elijah. And even after that, he got a renewed insight to go and anoint or ordain his successor. He got a renewed strength. So many people, especially a lot of singles that have not jettisoned their virginity based on these facts, on the or fact or fallacy of people's opinion that forget virginity. Who does virginity here? As they always say. And they're like giving it a second thought. Is it true? Can I also, some people are not even being pressurized because they believe, or because others believe that virginity is wrong. Is not in vogue again. Some are even laying it down by themselves because they feel maybe because of that they have not been able to get correct suitor or correct partner, or they have not been able to get a good guy to date. They are even the one laying it down based on wrong information. So the fact that people believe that virginity is not in vogue again, doesn't mean that it's not popular. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have benefits. There are a lot of benefits. After all, take Bible aside. In the olden days, from history, from what we read from history, we came to understand that in those days, they treasure virginity, such that any child who by chance loses her virginity before her marriage, before she eventually get married to her partner, will be a disgrace to her family. In fact, they will go to the family house and stone them, or put them out, to the outskirts of town. They will really, really disgrace them. It will be a real shame to the family. That is the culture we used to know. And it's also applicable in the Bible too, that you must stay clean and chaste. In fact, Bible tells us that if there, by virtue of, if by accident something happened to your virginity, whoever, the man that defile such a child must pay a ransom.
Yes, must marry the fellow.
Exactly. You must pay a ransom. Even if you're not going to marry that girl, you must pay a ransom to the father of that girl, because you defy, the Bible call it defilement. You defy that child. You took advantage of her. You took a virtue. But unfortunately, our girls these days don't even see it as virtue. They don't even see it as an asset. They don't even see it as something to be treasured. They see it as a free gift. They see it as a way, a bait to get a desired man. It's also as a result of misplaced priority and incorrect information. If they are well informed, somebody said that if you are well informed, you will not be deformed. So the ideology is already deformed, because they are coming from the aspect, or from the angle of what the opinion that is applicable to general. The fact that everybody does it doesn't make it right. There are so many benefits. Take, for instance, the issue of trust. When a woman is married as a virgin, the man or the man marries as a virgin. If couples marry themselves and they are both virgin, they still maintain their virginity till marriage, you cannot doubt the trust that will be between them. We have seen cases of marriages break as a result of query on paternity of their children. If there is any reason, God forbid, that a child's paternity will be queried, if you marry a virgin as a lady or as a man, you will not have anything to fear. Or if there's no query on any paternity of any child of yours, there has been instances where you are suspecting your partner, you are suspecting your partner, you are suspecting your husband, or you are suspecting your wife of your movement or a relationship with others or other opposite sex. There won't be a reason for you to have trust issues, because you made the person chaste. But for somebody who has been, who has laid down his or virginity on the altar of, sexual perversion or sexual immorality, if eventually settle down and the person, your partner play too much or interact too much with opposite sex, begin to suspect, that is exactly how you did to me, or that's exactly what you did before we met. Who knows if you are not repeating the same thing? Who knows if history is not repeating itself? There will always be suspicious movement. You will not have a convention. You will not have that peace over the relationship of your spouses. There's so many things. There will be emotional attachment to previous partners. There will be soul ties. Even if you don't want to, you don't pray for such. You don't want to be remembering your escapades. But because there has been instances where you have cheaply laid down your virginity or your morals, when you now eventually settle down, at some point, you begin to remember all those things, your attachment with them. Oh, when I was with this was what we happened. What happened. This was how we did the whole thing. Even if it were to be the person you eventually marry, you will compare. Even, I mean, when you are having you're having intercourse with your partner in marriage, you begin to imagine, you begin to think, flashback. Was it as sweet as before we got married? Was it that does she put the variety? Is she skillful now compared to the time I mean we were not married? Begin to compare those times with now. There will be a lot of trust issues. There will be a lot of comparison. There will be attachment, soul ties. There will be even the unseen battles that you begin to fight that you cannot even trace where they're coming from.
Mm.
So it's still very, very good and very, very reasonable. It's still very, very reasonable for every single who has not laid down their virginity at the altar of adultery, fornication, or sexual immorality to maintain that, because it's your treasure, it's your testimony. Tell me, how will you even tell your children when you now get married and you want to correct them or you want to guide them? You want to guide them, and you're like, oh, girl, don't do this. Don't give yourself cheaply to worthless guy. Oh, guy, make sure you play your card well. You are a responsible guy. Don't take advantage of. At some point, some of Generation Y, remember their generation that has questions. My sons ask questions a lot, and sometimes I'll just say, see, some of these your questions are even beyond me. Give me a break. Let me go and think and pray about it and give you an answer. Some of these questions, some of these children will ask questions and say, okay, mommy, I've heard you. Okay, daddy, I've heard you. You that you are talking, in your time, did you preserve your virginity? Did you marry as a virgin? And if the answer is no, they want to know why. What happened? Was there any situation or scenario that brought about that? What informed your decision not to marry a virgin? So what would you have said? Some parents will shy away from that. They say, shut up. That's not the question. I mean, that's not the thing I'm asking you to do. Do as I say. Don't do as I do.
Oh,
It will
okay.
be more.
Now, in that wise, I want you to. What do you expect the parents to do in that situation?
If it were to be otherwise.
Yeah, if children ask them, oh, during your own time, what did you do at my own age during this
To
time?
preserve
Shouldn't
your
be,
to
shouldn't be
preserve yourself.
yeah, shouldn't be okay for them to tell them the truth.
Yes,
Even though you have
yes.
horrible past, or you have, even if you make mistake, is it not good to tell the truth and just use that to let them know, I don't want you to make the same mistake that I made, compared to what you are just shying away and just shut them off, and just, or you run away from that question, or you even lie, to cover your past, you know, and the secret that is not covered, and you just just talk about it as if you are the most saint on earth, you know. So what do you think the parents should do at that moment?
Tell your story. Just go ahead and you know, parent, I've come to understand by experience that the counsel you give to people, especially to young adults and youth, by sharing your personal story sticks more and longer than just telling them the philosophy of life or what is obtainable. Just tell your story. Yes, nobody is above mistake. And then it might be because you cannot see beyond your nose, out of curiosity, or out of lack of adequate knowledge or guidance. Such an error was committed. You never knew then. It was a time of ignorance. But now you know better, you have tried both sides and you have seen every of our decisions comes with corresponding consequences. So you have tasted both sides and you have seen consequences that came after. And you, of course, you will not, nobody, I've not seen any reasonable parents who have tested the other side. I mean, who married not as virgin, or who have been careless sort of with their virginity or with their morals, and now married, now see more sense of wish they would have, I mean, they had stayed patiently and kept that their virginity or their morals, their sexual morality till marriage. No reasonable parent will ever wish it for their children. They wish they know better so that they can tell a better story. But now that the deed has been done, but now you, of course, you know better. You might have suffered the consequences, but that doesn't mean you are you are the most you are the most you are the bad you are the worst person on earth.
mm.
But it's just a lesson for you as a parent to help your child or help the younger ones to stay on course. So tell your story. Let them know. Don't lie. In fact, there's nothing that is covering. The more you lie, eventually they will know. They will lose trust and confidence in that your parenting skill. So there's nothing to be shameful of. In fact, when you are remorseful and you are sincere and you sincerely tell your story, they owe you the right to stay glued to that counsel. They won't want to disappoint you because they know that you are speaking from personal experience. And who can tell the experience better than yourself? So it's better for parents to be truthful.
When you look at other people, other aspect, sometimes we are too much religious than using. It's good to use biblical support to counsel people, but I think this particular age era want to hear more of the
Practical.
testimony
Yeah.
experience than telling me about what
Practical.
happened in the Bible. I don't live in the Bible. I don't live in the Bible, and some of them are just only saying we've had that one a couple of times. To them, it looks
Story.
like a story. To them, it looks like kind of somebody wrote. So to
Stories
them,
of heroes,
yeah.
superheroes.
So why I've heard that, and in some religious setting, they emphasize more on that, using the scriptures to 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 lay the rules. It has to be done this way. To me, I see it as the era of the X compared to when you have experience, when you begin to teach them based on experiences and what happened around us. They want to
Yes, they
see
can be familiar with.
what we are familiar with, and from there, a child asks you, "Can I? At what age can I start dating?" You understand? You remember that this kind of idea is very from every aspect of life.
Personality, yeah. Personality
Some
differences
countries they encourage dating
and
early.
culture, yeah,
Some culture is involved.
allows them.
One is involved. Education is involved.
Yes, exposure.
Parental background is involved. But it's a general question: when can I start dating? And but because of your own experience as I mean as a
Parents.
African parent, you want
Hey, you dare not ask for such questions. Oh.
that does not solve the child's question because
Yes.
it's like, okay, you have not answered my question. You said something like the other time, said courtship. When we talk about courtship, it's like we know what courtship is. But these days they've taken it a little bit back and said, okay, we have to talk about dating before courtship. And the word courtship it kind of sounds so much colloquial right now, whereby
Mhm.
we use engagement instead of
Yeah,
we're engaged. After
yeah.
dating, we engage. After engage, we move to this other one. So when don't we think it is very, very important for the parents to know what to be more friendly to their children than being parent.
Yes, yes. The very first school or point of education is family. So parents all need, like I said, parents need to upgrade themselves. They need to also update their understanding of parenting.
Mm,
Now, if a child, like you said, asks questions that bothers him or her, based on where he or she is coming from, based on association he or she keeps or company he keeps, based on level of exposure, based on interrogation that goes on within, and is asking questions. Of course, you and I know that the kind of parenting we have, we had in our days. Even if you have that questions within you bothering you, you dare not ask.
mm,
else you will be a gunner.
Mhm.
They don't want to know where that is coming from. They don't want to know what informs your questions. They don't want to know what brought about that, interrogation within you. They don't want to even know who has pushed you or situation that has pushed you to ask. And you are not just asking in order to just engage their mouth. You are asking because you need knowledge. No wonder the Bible says, my people are destroyed, not because they lack Holy Spirit. Remember, Holy Spirit is the greatest teacher, not experience. Remember, I mean, it's not because they lack God. No, God is an all-knowing God. Despite the fact that He knows you need something, you are not destroyed because you don't know God. You are destroyed because you lack knowledge. Even in Bible says that to godliness, you need to have knowledge. You keep knowing. And knowledge comes when you ask questions and you find answers to that question, correct answers. So parents need to upgrade and update their level of understanding in order to come to the level of friendship with their children. Calm down, ask questions for that, why they are asking. And even if you don't have answer to that question, don't be too proud. Don't be too full of yourself. Don't be too pompous to feel like you must answer and you answer wrongly, or you answer something that the answer is not going down well with that child. Don't be too proud to say, sorry, I don't have answer to this now, but give me few days to find out. And even if you cannot provide answer, look for people, reputable persons, or somebody that you can vouch for, that can put that child on course, that can answer that question. Some of our parents don't know, and they don't want to know, and they are not submissive enough to seek knowledge. And when their children are asking questions based on their sexuality, they feel slighted when they cannot, or when they provide answer and the child is like, I'm not satisfied. That's your problem. If you are not satisfied, that's your headache. That's what I know. Don't be too rigid with your point. Don't be too proud to accept that you don't know, but let the child know that you will always come back with answer. And if you cannot come back with answer, you always get someone to help out. So we need to come down to the understanding, and we need to understand that our children they are learning so fast from things around, especially from technology, from entertainment world. They are learning from society, and our society are not even helping matter. They're not helping matter because of so many things they push at them.
Yeah. When
So we
you
need to come up to that.
yeah, I have this other one that's kind of a little bit it's kind of heartbreaking these days. What will you say to some youth or children that have been um, sexually abused? You know, and when we talk about all this kind of abuse now, is just all over the place. Some are suffering from rape. Some are either by family member, or some are by friends. You know um, attack and everything. You know, uh, schools and everything. All kind of all this sexually abuse
Molestations.
that is going on in the life of those children. So now, how number one, what do we do to help them out? Because that could also lead to why some people are just so kind of bottled up, and they will not open up to anything. They will not, or they will kind of misbehave. So that has led some people to become uh alert, prostitute somewhere, because so they don't even care. I have nothing to hide anymore, since I lost it. Somebody took it away from me forcefully. Somebody did this and did that to me. So what else do I have to keep? So what's the point? So what do you say to all those
Well, sexual abuse or any form of molestation is not just an offense to the body. It's not just a stab in the heart. It's demonic. It's terrible. I'm trying to find a vocabulary to even use. It's terrible. It's horrific. It's a nightmare that may live with the victim for a long time. It's not only sexual abuse that is a form of molestation, even verbal abuse. Do you know, for instance, I was once a victim of verbal abuse when I was in secondary school. Because, like I said before, my background does not tolerate somebody to be appraising you. Ah, you are fine. You are not fine. You are this. You are your strength, to appraise your strength, to expose your strength to you, to improve on it, to validate you. So when you get to school, when I got to school and I saw beautiful girls that are my mates, and the way people flock around them and they make them to feel as if they are more than that. And they look down on you, they even beat you for no, not fine enough. They talk you down and they make you to feel less. I felt withdrawn. I felt less. And I always look down on myself. I have inferiority complex that it took me some years to come out of. Because there was nobody that was standing it around me, in my family, in my environment, to let me know what I'm doing right. So coming to school, you see children whose parents have always been appraising, whose families have always, they've always been giving them words of affirmation, and it has become their love language. So coming to school and they see others saying that they feel on top of the world, they've walked with shoulder high, and you are there, all you hear is all forms of words that can put you down, that can push you down, that can make you to walk with your head bowed. You feel withdrawn. Even if you can do something, fear of failure will not make you to attain such. So that thing really haunts me for years. There are so many exams that I wrote then that I felt like without the help of friends, I will not be able to succeed. I do tell my teenagers and my young adults these days, whatever you feel you are good at, please embrace yourself with it. Give yourself thumb up, appraise yourself, validate yourself. Nobody is saying it, but it's very good when we hear it from others. So verbal abuse too has a way of demoralizing personality, let alone sexual abuse. Man, it can be very, very devastating. It can be very, 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 very terrible for whoever is the victim. But scenarios that warrant that, they vary. Some can be as a result of carelessness of parents, or too much confidence of parents in, external factors, or people that they so much rely on. Take for instance the business of the I mean of our parents, or of our guardians. Some parents in many parts of the world, before the child wakes up, they are off to their work, and by the time the child is sleeping, that's when they will come back. The child only see them in the rare times, and of course they meant well to take care of such a child, so they will leave that child, they will leave the care of that child in the comfort of somebody they can trust. But you never can trust. Bible says the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? That who signifies that even the person carrying the heart may not be able to predict his next or our next move of action. So it could be as a result of carelessness of parents. And I pray that our parents, the Lord will just help them. The Lord will just give us wisdom to know how to, consider the care and the custody of these children God has given to us. So some can be as a result of what's it called? Um, Insensitivity. You're not sensitive enough. There was a case of a child that got pregnant and was almost 3 months gone. The mother was not sensitive enough to know that the child was already pregnant in her home. So parents, especially mothers, we need to be more sensitive. We need to educate our children. We need to befriend them. We need to watch what goes around them. We need to prayer cover them. We need to talk to them. We need to, chat them up. We need to know their friends. And in that aspect of knowing their friend, don't be patching around them.
I think we lost the signal, but at the same time, I just want to um, stay close with our audience and let you know that by what the woman of God was saying, we have to understand that those things that are happening to those children, you as a parent, you as a mother, you have to be able to understand what is going on under your roof. You must be vigilant. You must take note. You must be aware of what is going on within your nose. So don't just leave your children into the comfort of other people without making sure you are also part of it as well. Many a times you just assume everything is going to be okay. No, no, not everything is going to be okay. But because you have to understand that things can happen. And when it does happen, they may not be able to tell you. They may not have courage to be able to come to you and to let you know this just happened to me, because they know when you were gone, you were busy with what you were doing. And if they don't have kind of relationship with you that can make them to be able to come freely to you, they bottle those things in them. They keep those things in them, and that thing continues to heat them up. So you have, as a parent, you must come to a level whereby you have to be able to see that your children are doing well. You talk to them from time to time. Don't yell at them. They come up with any kind of a question. Answer the question. Don't put your emotion in place. Don't let your emotion be the first to answer the question. Think about, digest it. Talk to yourself about it, because they are the one wearing the shoe. You are not the only one. Don't let your, oh, I didn't do this in my own time, so I will not allow my children to do this in their own time. You are not living in their time. You are not living in their time. They didn't live in your own time, so your own time is different from their time, and you have to understand that this particular time has to, you have to use the method of particular time to address the matter of this time, not the no, not the way you were, the way you were raised, or what you were taught. That's the way you have to deal with them. You have to be able to get yourself more informed. Maybe you are here, you're listening to me right now. Maybe you have been abused in one area, you have been molested in one area. One uncle, one auntie, one teacher, somebody molested you. You are raped, as a result of something. I want to talk to you about this. Let me just let you know that you can still survive it. Number one thing that you need to do, it might be hard, it might be difficult, but first of all, forgive yourself and seek for counsel, whereby you need to get yourself to a therapy that will begin to walk you step by step out of that kind of depression, or out of that kind of thing that happened to you. Because if you don't get to that, you might live with it for a long time, and you continue to beat yourself, you continue to hate yourself, you put other people you draw other people into it as well. You might not even be able to attend to other people. It will hurt you and your relationship with other people. So that's why you have to be able right now, forgive yourself. Let's look for a way to talk to somebody, talk to, or seek for therapy, whereby you be able to talk, to get out of it. You might talk to people and people might not believe you. What have you been looking all this while? What took you so long before you came out to talk about this? Remember, it is your story, it's not their story. It is your story, not their story. It is your life, not their life. But you have to stay in that area. You have to stay in it just to make sure you get yourself together. Don't worry about it. People might not believe you, but you believe yourself. So you have to get yourself into a place whereby you let out all those things that is hurting you, that is, in which where people have you have been abused. You have to come to a place you have to talk about it, because the more you talk about it, the less it hurts you more, the less it has power over you more, the less it has the less the people that hurt you have more power over you. You'll have control over yourself, and you'll be able to get everything straightened up. Look, you cannot continue to live in bitterness and expect yourself to move forward. You have to come to a place whereby you let go, you heal. Healing takes time to come back. But if you can start it up, you will surely get there. You don't die in it. Don't put other people into it, and don't let any other person know what you are going through, because that thing can still be healed. And I can tell you, you are not by yourself. You are not alone in it. If you can talk to somebody, you don't have to die. Whatever you think is happening to you right now has happened to somebody before. So you are not the first to experience that, and you will not be the last person to experience that. So you are only facing it right now, but you can surely come out of it. You can surely come out of it if you can talk to people. You can seek for counseling. If you can get into to therapy, and let them talk, let them walk you through this whole situation, and you'll be sure that I can tell you things will turn good. Pastor Bukola Shope, you are back now. I just wanted to, in wrapping up this conversation, I just wanted to ask. I wanted to talk to intended couple. There are a lot of them that get into marriage with a lot of expectations, and only to get into the marriage, only to realize that all what I had was just kind of fallacy, or what I have is just kind of a dream, living in the dream. You understand? But what will you do? What will you say to them? Before you get married, what to expect? What are the things that you might need to expect in marriage?
For those who are intending couples, you need to first of all, because I believe the very first thing to look out for is what is God saying about that decision. Because I tell you, marriage is more spiritual than physical. No man initiated it but God. And it is the person that initiated or manufactured something that can tell best how to use that. So it's more spiritual than physical. So you need to ask God what He meant you to do before you venture into that relationship. Now, having done that, and you're very sure that God wants you to marry this person, the journey to marriage has started. As in, I'm not talking about journey to wedding, because oftentimes many singles prepare for more of wedding than marriage, and they are two different things. Wedding is just a question of few days. It's a question of few hours, not even up to a day, depending on how you decide to elongate it anyway. But then it's a question of hours. But marriage is a lifetime venture. It's a lifetime journey. There is no end to it until death. Now, if you understand that this decision you have made is going to determine a whole lot about you. For instance, as a woman or a lady, the moment you get married, the day you are getting married, on your wedding day, you enter into wherever you have chosen, the venue to chosen to formalize your commitment, your relationship, either at the registry, the church, garden, or wherever. Whenever the moment we enter in, we enter as a miss, still miss until someone catch you. So You enter, the moment you are coming out, you are coming different identity as a missus. So it means that all your life is, so I mean, is circled around the man you have chosen to live with. And the same thing applies to the man. Your decision now has to come alongside your partner. You are no a good man, though your identity did not change from Mr. to another Mr. It's just Mr. But then your personality has changed outrightly. So as an intending couple, you need to be prepared to have to expect many things. I won't say expect anything because even life, as we come to life, we expect anything to happen. Expect anything. I mean, expect many things to happen, like changes. You are going to experience changes in your reasoning. You're going to experience changes with your partner. Your partner that you never knew can get angry to certain extent. You will, of course, you will see some changes in his emotion, in his reaction to things, in his reasoning, in how logical or irrational he or she can be. So expect changes. And when you expect changes, when you prepare for changes, when you see such, you'll be able to adjust. So also expect that takes me to aspect of you adjusting. Many people, many married people, because they were not expecting many things to happen. They believe that, the all the love experience they were experiencing when they were courting or they are dating will continue. Of course, it will, but it will change in pace. It will change in tempo. Honeymoon may not be forever. Courtship will not be forever, of course. We will come to reality. We will live in reality. And because we are individually different. You will have to adjust to the reality that is dawning on you. So because you are not expecting many things, adjustment may be difficult. But now that you begin to understand that as we experience phases, so as you experience phases in your relationship, you begin to adjust. You begin to adjust. So also learn to become one. The Bible says that when you live, you'll be able to cleave. There's so many things you need to leave. There's so many ideology, your background, what you used to believe in your family, among your peers and friends. Yes, it's good to take, you know, counsel and all that. But when you now come to yourself, you think of things that is applicable to you and your partner, and you begin to leave things that were not working, so that you can be able to cleave, especially bounding. Some bonding, some affection you shared with some other things, so some commitments, you may have to leave them in order to be able to cleave. So for intending couples, learn, be ready to learn, go for counseling, get reputable couple that whose marriages you can emulate, that you secretly admire. You can go to them and seek opinion, see what makes them live together. You should see what not just what work for them, what the common grounds that we can all build a relationship, what makes their relationship to be enjoying and not enduring. So seek counsel, pray together, read books together. Don't just, many people believe that in relationship, in courtship, there's nothing to do other than to have sex. No, in fact, sex should not even come up at all. You have a lot of things, because the time of knowing, you have a lot of things to do together. When you do that and you explore such, you will not even, sex will not feature at all. So read books, seek counsel, pray together, talk, communicate, ask questions, find out, do some findings, do compatibility tests, medical tests. Some people and we may not be compatible, they may be compatible in all except medically. So don't be ignorant of such. Do compatibility tests medical wise. That is broad, but at least for now, I can stand on the point of just do some basic medical test. And as you do that, I'm sure if you put the right thing in right places, you're bound to enjoy your marriage. Because I tell you, marriage is sweet, but someone said it's sweet depending on the cutlery with which you used to eat it. It's sweet, I can testify to it. But if you do the right thing at the right time, you are supposed to enjoy marriage as it were.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank you so much for coming today. And I must tell you, I am blessed by
Thank
all
you,
your
sir.
words that
Welcome,
you
sir.
shared with us today. And I pray God will continue to uphold you and your ministry. Ladies and
Amen.
gentlemen, you have listened to Pastor Bukola Shope, uh, the convener of Single But Whole. And in case you want to continue, if you are single and you have questions and you want to follow up, you can follow her up on both on Facebook and Instagram, and she will be glad to answer your question. And it's a wonderful time, speaking with you, man. I pray for more anointing, more grace upon your life in the mighty name of Jesus. I look forward again when we're going to meet again, and we have more talk. And I believe when we call you again, you will be able to answer us again. Thank you so much.
Good pleasure.
And to all our guests, everybody watching, I want you to share this video, share this discussion, and tell everybody. I believe as you share it, you are also uh, impacting lives, because what you don't know, and you only know what you know. And as you just do that, it will always be a blessing to someone. Because the only thing that we need to keep updating ourselves day, every day. I like what the Bible says about studying to show yourself approved. Part of studying to show yourself approved is by updating yourself, and you have come to a place where you get information every time. Is an update for you. Go ahead and think about it. Look at the area you need to adjust in your life. Either you are married, or you are still single. But before you get married, think about it. Am I actually fit? Am I ready? Am I okay to get into this new change in my life, new phase in my life? Until I see you next time, I remain your host, Femi Ojo, and I look forward to see you again. God bless you. Thank you, and remain
Welcome.
blessed.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Pastor Shope. You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.